podcast was reading in March, and that one I really, really liked. I really liked the main character a lot. But what I'm reading right now is the new book by Michelle McNamara, the wife of Patton Oswalt, who died rather suddenly. Was that last year? 2 years ago? But she was investigating who she came to call the Golden State Killer. And it's basically her, mostly her writing. It was kind of put together after she died by other people, but it was a lot of stuff that she wrote getting ready to write this book. And I love true crime and all that stuff. And so far I'm kind of whizzing through it as much time as I have to read, which is not a lot, but I'm probably close to a third of the way through it. And I just started a couple days ago, which means I'm really enjoying it. I have a hard time putting it down to get other things done. So, because I'm really enjoying reading it, but yeah, it was one of those things that I just don't know very much about this particular person that has never been caught or whatever, and it was decades ago. So it's been pretty fascinating.
Now, speaking of true crime, did I tell you about that Most Notorious podcast?
That one does not ring a bell.
Okay. So I was listening. I don't remember. I think it was maybe one of the radio shows I was listening to was talking about this, and they go through true crimes. I don't remember the history they said, but I know one of them was based. They talked about one. Maybe it was a two-parter about one in Minnesota, and it just sounded really interesting. And I keep trying to remember to tell you that because I know you like that kind of stuff.
I do. The one of the podcasts that I listen to, try to keep up with really regularly, is Crime Writers On, where they it's a group of crime writers, surprisingly, and they go through and they cover different documentaries or other podcasts about true crime and kind of review them and discuss them. And they recently, wow, I totally lost my train of thought there. Oh, they were part of a podcast bracket, and they actually won.
Nice.
They met they beat This American Life. It's like the sort of granddaddy of podcasts. I mean, it's really sort of a radio show / podcast, but yeah, Crime Writers On one.
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, this is not, I don't think this is the one that you just mentioned. I don't think this is a podcast that they've mentioned on their show.
Okay.
So
yeah, I haven't
check it out.
I haven't listened to it yet. It's been in my list, and then I've got in my hot little hands, just arrived yesterday. I think it arrived earlier than they said it was going to, is the World of Warcraft Chronicle Volume 3.
I saw that that's out. I haven't even finished reading 1 yet.
Okay. I just realized, so I finished 1 a while ago, but then I just realized, I don't know if I ever got Volume 2. Like, the Volume 1 I have is a Kindle version. I thought I bought Volume 1 as a hardback as well. I have to go look. But then I don't remember if I got Volume 2 at all. So I'm like, well, I can't really read this yet. I mean, I think you can read them out of any order. It doesn't matter. But I'm like, but it is kind of a timeline. So I'm like, oh, have I read? Do I know what's going on? But yeah, so it's always nice to get these. Yeah. I'm very excited. Especially since the alpha's coming out soon. Or I should say is out. Hopefully they'll release the beta for the next expansion soon, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh.
So what have you been knitting recently?
I need to be more prepared. Let's see. The thing that I've been sort of obsessed with the last few days it's called Easy. It's a scarf pattern by Martina Baim. She's the same person who did Hitchhiker.
Is it easy?
It is easy. It is, and it's one where, so I went to that class, 50 Shades of Shawls, at our yarn shop that was put on by Corey Eichelberger a couple weeks ago. And this is one of it's not technically a shawl, it's a scarf, but it was one that she showed and recommended that we all get a skein of Zauberball and make one. And a lot of Zauberball was sold that night. One of them was sold to me, and it's my particular Zauber ball is shades of green, which I don't know. I love green, but I very rarely knit with it.
Right.
And so I decided I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do it in green. And it's been kind of a really nice, relaxing thing. It's very straightforward, just a couple of rows to memorize that are very easy. So, and it'll be a really pretty gradient scarf when I'm done.
Nice. How was that class? 'Cause I really wanted to go, and then I completely forgot that it was going on that night.
Yeah. It was fun. Corey, I really like. She had done her thing at the shop with the book. What was that called? 52
Sweaters.
Minnesota 52.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought she was really fun. So I thought that this class would probably be fun as well. And she goes through, she shows you all these different shawls. Some of them she passes around. You can look at any of them, and she just shows you different shapes, different construction types, different things to think about. And it was really inspiring to me to think, I really have to get some, more of my shawls either finished or blocked or whatever, and start trying to get them incorporated into my wardrobe. I'm terrible about wearing things that I've made. So
right.
Partly it's because I buy a lot of clothes that are prints, and I also make a lot of knits that are variegated and whatever. So It's hard to match those things up. I need to buy more solid colors.
Right. And I never know how to wear them, because as a guy I can only wear them a couple of ways. She did talk about styling a lot, but not necessarily like unisex styling, perhaps. Right.
So, but she did have some interesting ideas about things that are maybe too small, that don't really stay on all by themselves, and things, like closing them and putting on buttons, or,
right.
things like that I hadn't really thought about, that would actually really work great for probably a couple of things I have if I knew how to sew.
Which I keep saying, you just need to bring your machine over and we can just have a sewing day.
Well, the way that I learn, I need to sit down and kind of like think it through and then get help with whatever isn't making sense.
Well, you can still do that here. We'll just sit down and think things through separately, and then we'll come together. And so,
but your house isn't quiet.
This is
I need
true.
Quiet to think.
This is true. Well, I can always kick people out.
Well,
I can bribe them with here's money, go to Pizza Ranch or something. I've got a couple kids that wouldn't mind going to them on a shopping spree. I'll just give them money. Go shopping. But yeah, I've got so many projects to try and finish sewing that I need an excuse. I'm trying to remember what I've been knitting recently. I've still been working on my scoreboard for my friend. That's always been my go-to when I don't know what I want to knit. All of us, we've all got hundreds of projects just laying around somewhere.
Something like that.
Yeah, and I've been working on
rounding up slightly.
My temperature blanket, which is starting to get heavy. And I think I'm only 20 some days in it, and it's still freaking heavy. That's what serves me right for going for a queen size.
Right. Well, and mine is just still a bag of yarn, so I don't know. It might have to be next year.
Right. Well, I'll just keep the spreadsheet going. People can just, pick up wherever they would like.
Right. Although since I'm planning to do mine in crochet, that should go a lot faster once I get started.
Yeah,
so I might actually be able to catch up if I get started maybe sometime in April.
Yeah, this knitting one, it is taking a while. I'm quite a few days behind. I tried taking it on a trip when we went to Bemidji last week, and it stayed in the bag. I had these granules that like 3-hour car ride. I could totally knock this out. And what did I end up working on? The scoreboard scarf. I shouldn't have even brought it with. I should have just brought the other one.
Yeah.
But I have been, and I wish I had it in front of me. Again, another person who didn't prepare. But there was something, and it's not anything new. I'm going to pull open my knit program so I can remember what it's called. I think it's Stephen B pattern, and I saw it, and it was in because I like snap stuff with my phone or do screen captures of things that I see to add later. And I'm trying to clean up space on my phone. And I saw this one. I'm like, okay, I really want to make this. It's the Ziggy Stardust cowl. And it's got this kind of nice gray, main color, and then the contrasting color they used one of those Freya like rainbow ones that just nice beautiful gradient in there, and they're kind of like a zigzag pattern that it peeks through the gray, and it's just I really like it. I want to make it bigger because I don't like cowls that are too close to my neck. This one looks like it might be okay, but I can't use the Freya because my wife's allergic to wool, so I'm trying to figure out what yarn I could substitute with but still get the same exact effect. So I'm going to have to hunt because I'd like to take that on my trip to my Sioux Falls trip next week, or not next week, the week after.
I was going to say, you've got other plans next week.
Right. Yeah. No, it's either that or I'm going to work on my Wonder Woman wrap because that's been sitting in my project forever and I still haven't done that one either, but I have the stuff for it. So it'll be one of those two, I think, because I need something different than the scoreboard shawl.
Right.
Or scarf. And I've also got my Ranger cowl that I've been trying to work on too because I really want that as well. So go back. What have you been eyeing lately?
I'm trying to develop a daily habit, which is not working really great, of just checking the patterns page on Ravelry just to see the top favorites.
Right.
Because frequently the ones that are hot right now are also free right now.
Oh.
So because that's why they're hot.
Oh, right.
They've got a
yeah.
coupon code or something like that. So one that I found that way recently that I really loved, I had loaded up on my screen, and then I forgot that that's why it was there. So I went and did something else. Is this the one? Yeah, there's a new shawl called Altitude, and we will link this in the show notes. But it's a triangular shawl, but it's an asymmetrical.
Oh.
Like I'm not super keen on triangular shawls a lot of the time, especially if they're super deep triangles. But this one is not super deep, and it's also kind of off to an angle, and it's kind of fun. So it actually is free right now as I'm looking at it. So maybe this one just is free, which is kind of fun. But it's kind of straightforward and simple, but looks like it would be fun to knit. Right.
And then I've been noticing that a lot of last year's Shop Hop patterns are showing up as free or highly discounted right now too.
Yes.
Which I'm excited about. I need to go and make sure that I've got them all. I still don't know if the owl hat has ever been shown up.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
But I do try to remember to check every once in a while. And the way that they did the Shop Hop last year by putting everything, so Stephen B. pattern Gaga Shroud is in the hot right now because he's been pushing it on social media. So it's getting some attention. But they were all supposed to they created a bundle for the Minnesota Yarn Shop Hop 2017. So every once in a while I go there too, just to see if there's anything that has shown up that wasn't there originally. And so far I have not seen that darn owl hat turn up.
Yeah, which is too bad.
Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, I've got the paper pattern, but like you, I really like the digital versions.
Yeah, I have become very, very attached to being able to pull stuff up in a knitting app rather than carrying around paper that gets misplaced or left at home or whatever. So it's like I always have stuff easily available either on my iPad or my phone.
Right.
So
we get so dependent on those things.
Yes.
Speaking of digital, though, I did come across an article, I think maybe it was a week and a half ago, on theatlantic.com called Skynet, How an AI Took Over an Adult Knitting Community. And it talks about how a developer put together a neural net program basically to kind of come up with patterns. And it doesn't necessarily mean like it's a full actual pattern. It's kind of like how when you've got those discussion bots where you can chat with a bot and it will give you answers. Mm-hmm. It basically just learns. And so they just fed it a ton of different patterns, and then it just spit out knitting code essentially, because pretty much knitting, that's all it